What does it mean to harden your heart? And once hardened, how might it be softened once again? In our Torah portion last week, this week, and next week, plagues are rained down on Egypt, and Pharaoh changes his mind regularly about whether the Israelites can leave or not. We are told that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Theologically, this is very problematic, as it contradicts a theology of free will. But that is for a different day. Whether by God or his own stubbornness, Pharaoh's heart is indeed hardened. There have been several times in the past week or two that I have felt like I understand what it means to harden your heart. Sometimes it is the anger I feel towards a person who has wronged me or is causing harm to those I love. A hardening and anger that leaves no room for me to see that other person as human, that person as divine, that person as anything except other. Sometimes my heart hardening feels more like a choice to ignore the pain I see in the news, the ever-moving crises from Venezuela to Greenland, Minneapolis to Gaza and the West Bank. It is a coping mechanism of focus on the here, focus on now, focus on what you can control, focus on the small acts for this small corner of the world. Even as I know this is both the advice I give to others and the advice I receive from my therapist, and really the most I can actually do, it still feels like a form of hardening of my heart. Is this the feeling of the average bystander? Not an evil person, or even a person ignorant of the harm happening in their own backyard. Just someone trying their best to make it from one day to the next, putting small amounts of good into the world, even in the face of great evil. Am I like that bystander? Have I had to harden my heart to the great evil to make it through the day and narrow the focus of this funeral, this hospital visit, this moment of prayer, this moment of teaching? What is it about a stressful interaction that leaves you thinking the worst of someone's intentions and them thinking the worst of you? Every day we ask for grace and compassion. We are humans. Mistakes happen. Please, try to see that your crisis is not unimportant. It just happens to be one of many. And every day I forget this rule in my response to someone else's shortness or someone else's stress response. I'm not sure if this is a normal course of life, or was it always like this? Or is this the new, due to new heightened underlying stressors of the world we live in? A new world that is expensive, a world where healthcare is more and more out of reach with each passing month, a world that seems bound and determined to fray allyships and run towards conflict, a world in which Jews are killed for gathering to celebrate Hanukkah, and synagogues are burned. And while each of those acts are in fact acts of one or two bad and troubled humans, they are part of the greater stressors we live in. A world where every politician blames the other for refusing to tone down the rhetoric, where our guy has more loyalty than we the people. Am I hardening my heart, or am I simply overwhelmed? Am I ignoring the pain, or am I doing the best I can to walk with the pain in front of me by narrowing my focus from the noise and distraction of the pain all around me? So what's a Jew to do when facing the feelings of hardening hearts? How might I begin to try to soften or open my heart? I Googled Jewish sayings and found some good ones. Rabbi Google, always good in a crisis, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. It is not upon you to finish the work, but neither are you free to withdraw from it, from Pirkei Avot. Happens to be one of my favorites, especially when I'm overwhelmed by a global problem. Gam ze yavor. This too shall pass. Good and bad, neither last forever. And a new one for me, if you believe that you can damage, believe that you can repair. This is a teaching by Rav Nachman of Breslov. Teaches, gently insists that the same human capacity for harm can also heal. It reminds me greatly of the prayer we read before the Amidah about making peace just as we make bread. Of course, it isn't that I forget these teachings, but that they felt uninspiring in the moment of a hardened heart. And then one of the last teachings Google came up with, Psalm 51. Create in me a pure heart. Lev tahor bara libi Elohim, ptach libi. I was instantly transported to about 3 melodic versions of this psalm. It was the inspiration text for our interfaith Thanksgiving musical choices, and like the hairs raising on the back of your neck, the thought of those musical pieces, the thought of the times I had prayed each one of those melodies, the thought of God opening me up and pouring Torah and love into me, allowing me to reclaim some equanimity, some compassion, to reclaim a softer heart. There is a new podcast by the Shalom Hartman Institute called Thoughts and Prayers. I've not listened to many episodes, but this quote from their advertisement has struck with me. And while it may be more about patience with God than opening our hearts, I believe it too is the type of prayer that reminds us that our fears and frailty, our overwhelmingness and our powerlessness, these all might lead us to hardening our hearts, seeking refuge in a calcified position, but perhaps, as the quote by Akiva Mattinson asks us, for patience with God, we may also find that patience within ourselves and with each other. Mattinson says, our prayers accumulate on God's doorstep, piled outside like an unimaginably tall stack of letters. We cannot give up on the relationship because God doesn't come to the door as quickly as we may like. So let's keep knocking. Perhaps the gates of compassion will be opened. Perhaps, like the song I was going to sing, Ptach libi, perhaps our hearts will be opened. Ptach libi b'toratecha uv'mitzvotecha v'tirdof nafshi. Open my heart to your Torah, to your mitzvot, and to the pursuits of my soul. May this prayer help soften or open your heart. It certainly helps me.